Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic plus Non-Classic. This is episode number 1336 and Doubleshot number 1230. First up, we're discussing the final trade to collect issues from Supergirl Volume 6, Supergirl Volume 6, Crucible. This book collects issues 34 to 40 and the Futures in One Shot. Yep. Oh, before I talk about this particular trade, isn't it strange, though, that Superboy, which was canceled just prior to this book ending? That book had one annual published. This book had 0 annuals published in 40 issues. I would have thought, though, they would have put out an annual at this period of time, but no, they didn't for some strange reason. I'm not sure why. Now, the first arc doesn't deal with Crucible at all. This first issue is kind of a revisit to the Peter David run with basically Supergirl meeting this black kid who she basically falls for. This is just after the whole stuff what happened with the previous story with her losing the red ring and meeting this guy, and of course they recap that here, and they basically it's kind of like a love story of the two of them, which I think is really good. It's actually a fantastic story. It's like, first he kisses, and of course, they like each other, it's like we're friends. And of course, he kisses her, he's like, maybe I should have. And of course, she kisses him, he's like, that was nice, can we try it again? And he's like, scene, we're trying causing a scene. Yes. And then we have this lightning bolt hack, but I guess it'd be like, damn, man, you kissed a hot woman. And hot woman happened to be freaking Supergirl. Oh yeah, it's also this lightning bolt up, and it's freaking Brainiac. With Cyborg Superman, who's got an upgrade. Yep, got an upgrade. Yep, and then we have a guest appearance in issue 35 by Red Hood. Yep, I believe this is also the last issue done by, Tony Bedard. And they changed artists on this issue. This one's done by John Boy Myers. I met this guy. He's a really good artist. But it's a bit of a drastic change here. Now, this is how he draws Supergirl. It's a really good... I don't mind the look per se. It's drawn really well. I mean, she looks her age, which some artists tend to draw people a little bit older than they actually are. And then she briefly fights them. They team up for a mission. And that's that. It's a nice issue. I like it. Yep. And then we have Crucible. The 5-part storyline that ends this volume. Yes, a 5-part storyline. Though this story arc did debut a few characters for post Flashpoint. This one story arc, we have brand new writers. We have Mike Johnson coming back for his last arc. I'm like, I don't know why they brought him back for. And Kay Perkins. Yep. This story arc says something that goes absolutely nowhere. Where we have Kara working for a fast food joint. And her running to Clark. Yep, running to Clark. You're probably thinking, what the heck is up with this? Now, this is before the Dark Truth stuff. So, this is just after the events of Doomed. Where he basically has got a full beard. They chat for a bit, and then she gets hauled away to their planet. Where she ends up fighting Maxima! Yes, Maxima. You're probably thinking, Maxima, you mean the alien queen who really wanted to marry Superman? Yes. Him. Well, her, excuse me. Yeah. They briefly fight. And then she fights Captain Comet. Yes, Captain Comet. Though we refer to as Captain, I simply refer to as Comet. And the reason why they're here is the whole story with this Crucible stuff. And all also dealing with Superboy. Yes, the Connell Superboy. And we basically sort of like, this is our arc, we have a look back at this run. So, these are the characters. Aside from Maximus and Juice, we also have Trevor and Comet, who is actually Captain Comet. Yes. And he's very popular with the ladies. No mention of his exploits in the 50s, though. Nope. So this whole story is basically around the school of Crucible. There's some corruption found here, too. And there's also a bit of revisiting about the whole run itself. A bit of a look back, per se. It's an excellent story arc just to end this particular run. Though it has a bit of a snag with it. Yeah, the Crucible was actually destroyed. The facility that's basically here is destroyed. And we have a brief revisit to seeing the Kara's boyfriend she had here. The kid in the wheelchair. Though he doesn't appear next time. I'll talk about that in a minute. So, they wrap up this big epic battle just to end this particular run. Sorrow new. And Kara gets back to Earth. And looks like she's about to do something interesting with her boyfriend. And then she gets cut. Like, wait, she gets cut? She's Kryptonian. And then she just realized, though, she no longer has powers. Yep. And I've technically already discussed the Supergirl Future Center one-shot here. Because that's all that's of this particular trade. Now. No, that's not what I want there. There we go. Yes. Now. What do I think overall of this run? Well, in the case of this trade itself, I give this one also a 9.5 out of 10. It's an excellent trade. And here's the strange thing about this. Supergirl losing powers, end of the trade. Like, what's the next appearance? 1 year later. Yes, she has not made appearance for at least for a year. Until she pops up in the final days of Superman. And the whole point of the appearance is just to set up her new ongoing series, which is actually just ended last year after 42 issues. Yeah, 2 issues longer than this time. I'll discuss that last trade. Excuse me. When I get hands on it, I'll include that one. But this was a good way to end the run. I got at least got hand to the writers of this book. It was a really good run. A really good story just to end this particular run. I think Tony Bedard himself did a great job with the book. Despite like his run not being very long per se. Oh no, it's not very long. But my final thoughts on this run, it's odd to talk about, to say the least, because this book had a few different creative teams in the book, but lots of art. Well, mostly the same. I at least got to appreciate, though, the book had the same artist throughout the first half of its run. Yeah, for the first 20 issues, you have the same artist, which, good job. That's actually really good. Muhammad Assad is actually a really good artist, from what I can tell. Though, they picked 2 writers of the book. I personally, even to this day, I'm not really familiar with these 2 guys' work, aside from this one. And I thought it was quite odd that they brought back one of the writers to write the final story arc. Maybe because DC knew this was going to be the final arc of this particular run before they said to bring back the book for a rebirth, a year later. It's surprising the book was only gone for a full year. You see, between volumes 4 and 5, it was only gone for about 5 years. Yeah, 5. And if you're curious, though, how long it's been since the end of the most recent volume for the series, I think it's only been about a year at most. As far as I can tell, there's no plans to bring back the series. Not that I can think of, no. But how do I think of the run? It's okay. It's interesting for what it is. I think that some of the writing could have at least been improved. Though it kind of did improve with the Hell on Earth stuff, which, in my opinion, kind of saved the Superman books. Because I'm sure for a lot of people, they probably weren't liking the direction that some of the books doing at that point. I mean, Grant Morris himself was writing Action Comics at the start of this run. And in the case of Superman, oh boy, this book, during the first 12 issues, went through, get this, it went through 4 writers in 12 issues. First it was George Perez, who couldn't even finish his opening story arc and have different writers. This book actually managed to keep its creative team for the first 19 issues before switching off to a couple different writers before eventually setting on Tony Bedard, which I think did a great job with the book. He made that book very long. I think it was in the book for about 10 issues. But it was a really good run. And when I did ask him about this, he enjoyed coming back to the book. And the only thing he was not really a fan of from the previous find was the midriff costume, showing up her belly. He was not really a big fan of that. But at least he did a good job writing this book. And the Red Lantern stuff, I think for some people, might have actually saved the book. Though it didn't last very long. Nope, as soon as the Red Lanterns are wrapped up with issue 33, the book ended 7 issues later. Yep, didn't last very long. Yeah, unknown exactly why they decided to end this book, presumably because of low sales, but I've never heard the official reason for this book ending back in 2015. Yeah, there was no reason for this at all. It just ended after 40 issues. And of course, had a features in one shot published after issue 34, mind you, yes, but there was no reason the book ending. It just ended. With a possible cliffhanger. Oh, and by the way, the stuff in Juice in this run, like Silver Banshee, a supporting character, a boyfriend for Kara, completely ignored by the time Steve Lann kicks the book, because he does follow up with the Cyborg Superman stuff, which that's good. Aside from that, nothing. He didn't follow up with anything. Like, apparently Steve Lann forgot the fact that Supergirl had a boyfriend. Yep. Though that run basically was taking a lot of inspiration at first from the Supergirl TV show. Mainly by having Cat Grant in the book. Alright, so moving on to Batman Volume 2 by James IV. Joker War. Yep, we're talking about the main event from issues 95 to 100 of Batman Volume 3. Interesting little factor when it comes to issue 100 for DC Comics. What was the last official comic book published by DC to have issue 100? That book was Teen Titans back in 2011. This issue came out last year. Yes, last year. Because this is one of those good events that came out last year. And it had been 9 years since issue 100 came out. And it was shocking to see this book lasting, having that many other issues. I mean, there's some books that are getting close. But this is the first book at this point last year. Actually, at the time it hit last year, it was the first book in 9 years to have one. Because no book even lasts that long. But now this book did. Yep. Now, Joker War itself is an excellent story. It's basically Joker, who apparently took over Bruce Wayne's company, and took over his company, and pretty much started his grand plan to try to take on Batman once again. So throughout the storyline, he's simply teaming up with Harley Quinn, taking on Punchline, who's actually arrested by the extra in the story arc. And, well, we also have a debut of a new bat suit. Yes, in this blue-looking bat suit, which Batman wears in a Flash 4 sequence. He doesn't wear a president, he's worn briefly by the Joker. But I don't want to spoil too much of this book, because this book is just so good. Jorge Jimenez does a great job with the artwork in here. Yep. Though he co-does the book with a few different artists. You have Gillian March, Carlo Paglia, and Danny Miki. The cover art for this book is done by Jorge Jimenez and Tommy Mori, who is the artist of this book. The colorist. Yep. So everything built up in Dark Designs is basically, well, handled here. This story had a debut of a couple of new characters. One, of course, is the Clown Hunter, who becomes a recurring character even after this arc wraps up. The Clown Hunter is a teenager who takes one of Batman's batarangs, puts on an actual bat, like a baseball bat, and uses it to kill clowns. That's literally what the guy does. Joker finds out about him, the storyline, and he doesn't care. Nope, doesn't freaking care. So he also plays around with Punchline's feelings, because it's very implied he does take her seriously, but not really. But this story arc is just really fun. Like, wow. It's like Tinian had a blast doing this story because it's just so freaking good. I mean, at the end, we have, look like Joker apparently going to die, but he doesn't die at all. Nope. He doesn't. Now, basically, Punchline finds out about Lucius Fox and tries to figure out Batman's secret identity. But technically, Joker already knows who he is. But he doesn't care. Now, he does basically put some other, like, apparently there's some illusion or whatever. He apparently briefly revives Alfred in this storyline. Yes, Alfred comes back, despite the fact he was killed by Bane at the end of Tom King's run. Which, from what I heard in the article, Tom King was not really going to do that. It was going to fake out. But apparently DC higher-ups said, no, let's just kill him off. Okay. Whatever. Well, now, you at least got to get some positives with the storyline. Number one, Dick Grayson back in a Nightwing costume. Number two, Joker basically being the Joker. Though him basically taking Bruce Wayne's fortune, that's interesting. Though we do have a subplot of having Catwoman here, which one thing at least got appreciated of, despite it being like a Batman book. The book is called Batman. But basically, you have Batman, you have Harley Quinn, Catwoman. You have these three people be the primary figures of the story, with supporting appearances by Nightwing, who basically was in his costume that Dan Jurgens gave him. And also we have Batgirl, Orphan, Signal, basically a lot of Batman family members. Surprisingly, Huntress is nowhere to be seen. I'm like, where the heck is a Huntress? Is she technically part of the Batman family? I guess not. And, well, they take all the Joker's, like, legion of goons that he's got. And, well, Joker looked like he's about to be killed. Of course, one of his eyes is lost during the battle. He loses one of his eyes. And it looks like the Harley Quinn's bomb is about to blow him up. But nope. Apparently, because he got his hands on some of Batman's gadgets from that other bat suit. And apparently Lucius Fox had no idea who makes that suit. And he's like, Batman's like, Lucius, did you make this suit? He's like, I thought you did. Yeah, introduced this brand new suit and no one has any idea who made this suit. The suit kind of reminds me of the Gotopia suit. Yeah, that's what suit kind of reminds me of. This one being blue and that was gray. But this story is just so fun. Thoroughly enjoyable. And the underboss basically is a great character. He's simply like DC's version of the Chameleon because he poses as a guy called Graves, who's like the legal representative for the Joker, who apparently took over Wayne Enterprises and he loses the money. Oh, by the way, who the money goes to? Lucius. The Batman does have a little money left, but he's no longer a billionaire anymore. He's just a millionaire. And Lucius Fox has full control over Wayne Enterprises. Yeah. Epic story arc. I get this book a 10 out of 10. It is so damn good. Yep. Now, in the case of what happened next, not a lot happened next. I mean, aside from the fact we introduced a new character in this book called Ghostmaker, who does a little bit of exploration in the next few issues. Let's see. We also have the first issue that comes right after this. Batman vs. Grifter. Yes, Grifter. Which, I think at the time when that book came out, last year, it was the first time he appeared in DC comic book since the end of his own solo book back in 2012. No, I think it was 2013. So at the time, it had been the first appearance in 7 years. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Of course, you get a lot of exploration of the Ghostmaker in that story arc. Yeah, I think Volume 3 is probably going to be about 6 issues, unlike this book, which was all 6 issues. Yeah, it's interesting, though, that in 2 trades, we've already covered, like, roughly 15 issues in 2 trades. Like, wow, that's a lot. Well, that's because the last trade covered 9 issues. This one covers roughly 6. But this story is just so good, and I love the tie-ins. I'll be discussing in the future the tie-ins for Nightwing, Batgirl, Detective Comics, yes. There's a brief mention of Batwoman here, where she basically has something to do in Detective Comics in that book, which is great. Yeah. And this is an event that, in my opinion, is one of the best things basically that happened last year. This event was just so good, and rereading it now, like, it reinforces that. It's just a good story. I love it. And though the next stuff basically is not really very noteworthy as this, but this is probably Tinief's high point. And here's something interesting though. This is like a lot of the DC books for DC Infinite changed creative teams. Batman still has James Tynion in the book, which is awesome. Yeah, it is. But not much else to say about these 2 trades. I mean, Batman Joker War is really good. Tynion is killing this book. It is so freaking good. I mean, like King basically has some misses. But in the case of Tynion in this book, no misses in 16 issues. Actually, like 15 issues, yep. So yeah, that's it for Cycle Review. And that's it for videos today. Stay tuned for tomorrow for reviews for One Piece, My Hero Academia, and Naruto. Okay, to this video. Bye.